Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Sweet Fantasies Part 2. Now, if you listen to the first episode in regards to Sweet Fantasy, it is in regards to relationships and our expectations and how those expectations typically lead to our biggest failures. Now, this episode is going to be real raw, real honest. I really want to kind of just get into this. And this is going to be tailored specifically to my women. Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I think one of the things that I see, and I see it as a pattern, I see it as a pandemic. I see it as something that has been the downfall or the biggest failure. And it has been our need for approval, our desperation, our thirstiness, you know what I mean? And just our overall interest in men in our early 20s and in our earlier years. And the reason why I say that is because women, the love that we have, the love that we share, our level of commitment and compassion is typically put in relationships with people who do not deserve us. Straight up. They don't deserve you. They're not worthy of you. And the reason why I say that, and I need you to hear me very clearly, is because what you're carrying, this person does not have the capacity to hold. I think that the saddest thing in regards to this fantasy is that women have been taught that men are going to come and rescue us, and it's going to be this and it's going to be that, and it's the biggest lie ever. You know what I mean? It's something like somebody should be sued for that, because it's literally it's not true. It's literally the most, like, I want to say conjuring evidence ever. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. Like, when I really sit and think about it, I'm just like, man, it's really saddening. And I realize the price that we pay as women chasing after this fantasy that doesn't exist. I really feel like we're coming to a point in society where a lot of men are really stepping up, and they're in this space where it's like, I'm just going to tear you down because, I know that I will never be able to rise to that occasion, or at least I feel as though within myself, I will never be able to rise to that occasion. And it saddens me to see so many young women, our lives on the line, you know what I mean? Whether it's childbirth or experiences, trauma, situational things, health related issues in regards to relationships. And, honestly, you guys, I'm not going to sit here and, put on this whole love, joie. You know what I mean? Because that's not what it is. And I think the sad truth is that it's not until we realize that, until we're a little bit older, how further we could be if we did not hold on to this fantasy. And I think the sad part about it is that when we have women who speak out about these things, we let them stand alone, and typically these women are not in a space where they're strong enough to really take this particular stance in regards to women, and we don't back them up. And so, I can completely understand why we have such a deficit in our community in regards to sisterhood. It's almost like we don't really want to stand with each other. You know what I mean? I think about so many women. I have women on my job who dislike Beyonce. And, whatever your opinion may be, I'm not here to say, I'm a part of the Beehive, or, I'm a part of the, but what I am a part of is the bigger picture. And what I see is a woman who has trailblazed through generations, in regards to her entrepreneurial journeys in regards to her artistry. Okay. And she's never graduated from college. I see a woman who has broken every barrier and who has carried many burdens, you know what I mean? And who has created the way, and who has paved the way for many of us. And I just think that sometimes, it's almost like we're intimidated by that because we don't believe it. We don't believe that we can be powerful as women. I told you guys how I once had a man tell me that I was too dominant. I'm never that in nature, but I think the sad part about this here is that, when it comes to women, we're not allowed to be in our own nature. We're not allowed to just be, and not even in regards to our own communities. When we're in our communities of sisterhood and we're sensual and, we're loving, we're healing, we're kind, we're lighthearted, we can't even be soft over there. So I think that that's probably the biggest detriment. And I want to know, how do we fix it? Well, we fix it by eradicating this fantasy. First of all, when it comes to women and sisterhood, it's such a pact. You got to understand that your sisters is like, I ain't going to say they're all you got, but they all you got. You know what I mean? And, as women, we really have to really work on ourselves in regards to our self-love, so that, if you want to be in a healthy and loving relationship with the man, or, you whatever your desire is in regards to a connection with someone, you can have that, and you can very much attract and attain that, but I really think that it just starts with loving yourself. And I think in regards to this fantasy and this illusion of people and relationships and all of these things, it's our biggest downfall. It saddens me to see, women not going after the things that they want, and the brainwashing that happens to us in regards to men, and just how we kind of start to doubt ourselves and how we start to follow back and fall down. I have to honestly say, I've had my own fair share of experiences, and that's why for me it's so important to share my story, because I'm never in a space where, you hear me talking today, you hear this beautiful woman who's becoming, yes I am, but understand that it wasn't always like that. And so I share my story and the things that I had overcome, and about the author, because it's so important for me to let women know that you can come from the bottom, honey. I was at the bottom of the barrel with my self-esteem. You know what I mean? I didn't really see myself in that light. I didn't really feel that way about myself. I didn't feel as though I was competent, and I believed a lot of the things that people had placed upon me. I was carrying a lot of emotional burdens, thinking I had to come around and be the nanny, thinking I had to come around and be so many different roles other than the role that I'm playing here and the one that God has called me to. And so I believe that that's definitely one of our biggest downfalls. But when you look at women who are in these situations and you look back on their life and you have the conversations, and I'm never here. This is what we're not like. This podcast episode is not bashing women. It's not talking negatively about women. We have all been through it. We talk about a sister being dumb for a certain person or a particular situation. The truth is that we all just have to grow and we all have to learn. As a collective, women have been taught to hate ourselves. We've been taught to hate ourselves. We've been taught to play down. We're the only gender, race, okay, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? We're really taught that. To lean into our insecurities and to invalidate our intuition. I once heard T.D. Jakes say that our intuition was something that was prophetic. It's prophetic because it wasn't anything that was factual. It was just a knowing, and it wasn't a knowing that everybody knew. And so I just think that it's important for us to release burdens. It's important for us to release fantasies. Now, don't get me wrong. I really believe that, if you really have a desire for marriage, and if you really have a desire to be in a committed relationship with someone who adores you and who treats you and makes you feel, like number one, like phenomenal. You know what I mean? I really think that is beautiful, and that's something that you should definitely hold in your heart. But I just believe that in our early 20s, it should not be our primary focus. And it's really sad because we're taught from early on that is our focus and that should be our focus. And so typically we're molding and changing ourselves to be in that space. You know what I mean? And so I think to just kind of like, distort this entire image or really like blow up this illusion is really just coming to terms with yourself. I think it's being honest with yourself. Sometimes we have people in our lives and we don't want to be real with ourselves. We don't want to be honest. Sometimes we have people in our lives where the truth is that before this person had came in our lives, we were happy. And we're not taught to put ourselves first. And so it kind of seems like our own unhappiness is our insecurities, our own projections, our own fears, when it's nothing more than the energy of another person. I'm really big on protection. I think that is something that women need. You know what I mean? And it's something that unfortunately just this generation of men and just the things that are kind of being taught, the examples that are being set, the role models that are kind of stepping up on these platforms. When I say role models, it is totally hyphenated. It's really being taught to just do everything but. You know what I mean? And it's sad. It's just a lot of game plans. And so I'm never saying be skeptical. I definitely think as women is, keep God close. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have lived one type of way. You don't have to have, never made any mistakes, because you're going to continuously make mistakes. And it's so important that you know that God is with you through those mistakes and that he will never leave you, and that your journey, you have a destiny, And so I believe that if you can just get up out of this sweet fantasy, and just look at the clouds, look at the clouds, look up, look up out of this distorted illusion and learn to trust yourself. I really believe that you can rebirth yourself and be whoever you want to be. I really believe that, because women, oh man, we have the power. Like, and I'm not talking about in regards to a man. This is not in regards to comparison or contrast. This is just the birthright and the God-given gift in every woman, in its strength, in our soul. So, if you're ever in a space where you found yourself believing this sweet fantasy, you found yourself and just lost, or confused, or kind of like carried along this narrative, it's okay. We've all been there, and I've been there, and I just want to let people know that I'm totally here for you. It's not easy, to kind of be in that space when you have so many people trying to usher you to go the other way, and so that's why you got to be really mindful of your circle as well. I didn't always used to be like this, but I'm so thankful for the person that I'm becoming, and like I said, I like to tell my story from the things that I've overcame, and because I really know that it's inspiring other people, and I know that it's helping other people, because we don't have a lot of people who are real. I listen to a lot of girls who get on the podcast and these episodes, and they talk about how this person was so dumb. Honey, we've all been there, child. Like, every girl's been there, because we nobody has taught us any better. That's just what it is, and if you have had those blessings, then you blessed, and that's okay, girl, you good, chill out, you good, but it's just, at the end of the day, don't ever feel stupid for your mistakes, because you're not stupid. Let me tell you something, honey, that intuition on a woman, it will never fail us, and it is truly a gift that God has given us, and there is nothing that anyone could ever take away. Like, even when we don't know, we know. How could I ever be stupid? How could I ever be lacking anything when I know I always know? I'm always right. You know what I mean? That means say, women think they're always right, because we are. Typically, 9.5 times out of 10, we are right. 9.7, 9.9, I give it. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't ever feel that way. And if you've ever seen a woman who was full of grace, full of elegance, spoke eloquently, and she was just stunning and fabulous, it is me. I am her. No, I'm kidding. I've always saw those women, they would come into the stores when I would work retail, heavy Louis, you know what I mean? This is for my girls. This is for my girls who like to shop, my girls who like to look a certain type of way. Now, we're not here for judgment. We're not here for, this is superficial. Like, please kill the noise. Okay, kill the noise. Please stop. Okay, this is for my girls who know. All right. She came in super fabulous, super stunning, right? Designer glasses. Okay. She's doing the thing. You know what I mean? And it's business card. It's entrepreneur. You know what I mean? It's education. It's stunning. You know what I mean? She's stunning and she's so captivating, right? And maybe she got a rock on her hand. You know what I mean? But you're like, wow. You know what I mean? Wow. And I remember when I would see those women, when I would be out, like whether it was in the city or whether I was in retail, whatever, I would see these women, I would just be so amazed. And I would like watch them and they would go out to their cars. And of course they were pushing like a Benz or, something luxurious. You know what I mean? And I knew I wanted to be that girl. And so I think sometimes what we do is when the woman gets to that space, we kind of have such a negative, we have a negative perspective about her. We feel like, oh, she's just a housewife, or she's just taking, and don't be wrong. Sometimes maybe that's the case, but I really feel like that's not always the case. You know what I mean? And so I just think that sisterhood is important, and it's important to have role models, and it's important to look up to women who you want to be like, and don't ever be afraid of that. You know what I mean? Now, did she have the personality to match? I don't know about all that. I'm just talking about in this sense, in regards to image. And, I always knew I wanted to be fabulous. I always knew I wanted to be somebody who was stunning. I always knew that was just who I really was. As I become that, I'm starting to just, I'm getting to know her. I'm becoming her. I'm developing into her. But it was destiny. And I feel like that's for many women. So don't ever feel like you need to stray away from that. So if you know, right? I'm not really here to kind of go on and ramble. Like I said, one of the things about Earthen's Den is I really leave an open space for people to have their own opinions and to really sit in that space and let it resonate. Like I said, I'm spiritual. I try to transfer my energy so you kind of see where I'm coming from. But like I said, I'm not I'm not really a person who's combative, and I'm not really a person who likes to over-explain myself. Like, if you get me, you get me. You know what I mean? So anyways, you guys, we got to rid this sweet fantasy. You're an individual. You are so freaking powerful. Like, go after what it is that you want to do. Live your life. Forgive yourself, okay? Because at the end of the day, I really believe that it's true. You did the best you could with what you knew, all right? And if you made the same mistakes, okay, well, all right, whatever. And what are you going to do today? What are you going to do differently tomorrow? And anytime you are in a space where you're guilt tripping on decisions, you're going against yourself because it's familiar, you're scared, or whatever the case may be, try to lean into sisterhood. Try to find people who support you, and genuinely support you. And if it's YouTube, then, hey, tap in. If it's this podcast, then, hey, nice to meet you. You know what I mean? Because what you really want to do in your early years is strengthen your intuition. You really want to learn about life, and you really want to develop self-love and confidence, because at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says, you guys, honey, it's not taught. Okay, you have to work for self-love. It's not something that's just like handed to you on a silver platter. Like, oh, okay, here's what self-love looks like. You totally possess it. Typically for most women, that's not how it goes. So you're not stupid. You're actually very smart, because you always know. So at that point, honey, nobody can take anything away from you, because you always know, right? And don't doubt yourself, baby girl. Don't doubt yourself. Like, you know that you know that you know. Why do you know? Because God gave you that. Like, when you really sit in that space, honey, oh my God, I can't tell you. When I sit in that space, I feel so angelic. I really do. Like, I really believe in my image. The image that I have of myself is something very beautiful. Like, I really do. And I'm learning to hold that image dear and near, and to no longer seek approval from other people about what I should look like, who she should be, how she should talk, how she should behave. You know what I mean? I'm real, and that's what it's going to be. Okay. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, go back and listen to Sweet Fantasy. We talked about relationships, expectations. And in this episode, I'm kind of just breaking down the sweet fantasies that women have in regards to relationships. And in the effort that we really should put towards sisterhood and developing those connections, and how, we should take all of our energy. I'm not saying hey, listen, come on now. You know what I mean? Be real. I ain't saying that, but what I am saying is that it's okay to put a little effort into building friendships with people, and to having real sisters and real connections with people. You know what I mean? Because that's what we need more than ever. I truly believe it. The way the media, the masses, I'm hearing a lot of noise, a lot of noise coming out the woodwork, in regards to women, and how a lot of people are seeing women in today's society. So it's just real important that we come together and we lean on one another in this time. Okay, so hear me clearly, hear me loudly. If you have people in your life who really don't get that, I'm sorry, girls, but the truth is that, honey, you're not going to be able to convince them. You're not going to be able to really work that out. Like, you kind of just have to move on and wait for those people, or, like I said, tap into YouTube or wherever your tribe is. I really believe in that. Like, just tap in, The sad part is that the algorithm already tapped in. So whatever you like, honey, they're gonna be popping up. You're gonna be finding them, but that's good, and have that sense of community, and put that energy into finding the things that you love, the things that you're passionate about. I think that right there is so beautiful. And I think for myself, after I have eradicated every sweet fantasy, and I've went through it, and I realized that it was false, I've learned to just appreciate myself a lot more. I really have. And it's a process, but I'm on the road of becoming. So I just want to welcome everybody onto that road. And I hope everybody had a phenomenal day. Okay. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. And I'm thinking because the dates that I'm recording this episode, I'm like, okay, whatever. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts.